The Man Who Returned the Lost. London, like all ancient cities, has learned how to keep secrets in plain sight. Some hide in locked archives or sealed basements. Others simply wait until no one is looking closely enough. This story begins on a narrow street just south of the Thames, where rainwater never seems to fully dry and the gas lamps hum even when unlit. I was working late at the Borough Records office when the first envelope appeared. It lay on my desk as if it had always been there. Cream paper, heavy stock, my name written in a precise, slanted hand. No stamp, no return address, just a faint smell of dust and something older, like a book that had been sealed too long. Inside was a single object, a brass key. Attached to it was a small tag with typed text, "Return when found." That alone would have been strange, but beneath it, in smaller print, was something worse. Property of the City of London, 1891. I knew the cataloguing system well. That designation hadn't been used in over a century. I checked the logbook. No deliveries, no visitors. The security cameras showed nothing, just a flicker of static around my desk between 11:42 and 11:43 p.m. 1 minute empty, the next, the envelope waiting patiently. I should have handed it to my supervisor. Instead, I took it home. The key fit a door I had never noticed before. I found it the following evening while cutting through Blackfriars Passage, a narrow walkway I'd used dozens of times. But this time, halfway down, there was a door recessed into the brickwork. Old oak, iron hinges, no handle, just a keyhole the exact shape of the brass key in my pocket. The moment I touched it, the street behind me went quiet. No traffic, no footsteps. Even the river seemed to hold its breath. The key turned smoothly. Inside was a narrow room lit by a single lamp. Shelves lined the walls from floor to ceiling, filled with objects carefully labelled and catalogued. Watches, gloves, letters, children's shoes, spectacles, a violin bow, a cracked mirror. Every item bore a small tag. Returned. At the centre of the room sat a man at a desk. He looked unremarkable at first. Middle-aged, neatly dressed, dark hair shot through with grey. But there was something unsettling about him. Something that resisted description, like trying to remember a face seen in a dream. "You're late," he said calmly. "I didn't know I was expected," I replied. He smiled faintly. "No one ever does." He gestured to the shelves. "These are the lost." "Lost property?" I asked. He shook his head. "Lost people leave things behind. These are what remain." I picked up a locket from the nearest shelf. Inside was a tiny photograph of a woman, her eyes scratched out. "When were these collected?" I asked. "When they were no longer needed." My stomach tightened. Needed for what? The man folded his hands. "For remembering." He explained that London does not forget on its own. Every city accumulates ghosts, not spirits, but absences. People who vanish without records. Stories cut short. Lives misfiled or erased. Over time, those absences begin to warp the city itself. Streets shift. Buildings lean. Names disappear from maps. Someone must return what was lost. He was appointed in 1891. Not elected, not hired, appointed. "When someone is forgotten completely," he said, "the city gives me what they left behind. I return it to the ledger of memory." "And if you don't?" I asked. The lamp flickered. "Then London begins to lose more than objects." He stood and retrieved a ledger from the desk. The pages were yellowed, filled with thousands of names. Many were crossed out, others were circled in red. He turned the book toward me. I saw my own name, circled. "That's not possible," I whispered. "I exist. I'm here." "Yes," he agreed, "for now." He told me the truth then. The man who returns the lost cannot age, cannot leave, cannot be remembered. Every few decades, the city chooses a replacement. Someone unnoticed. Someone who works with records. Someone accustomed to things slipping through cracks. The previous keeper lasted longer than most, he said softly, but he began to want more. What happened to him? The man hesitated. Then he reached for an object on the shelf. A brass key, identical to the one in my pocket. He forgot himself, he said. So the city returned him. My chest felt tight. You're asking me to take your place. I'm informing you, he corrected. The decision was made the moment you found the key. I backed toward the door. I won't do it. The room seemed to tilt slightly. That's what the others said, he replied, before their names faded. I ran. The passage spat me back onto the street, sound and motion slamming into me all at once. Cars passed, people walked, London breathed. For weeks afterward, I tried to ignore what I'd seen, but things began to disappear. First, my old school records, gone from the archives. Then my digital files corrupted. My childhood address no longer existed in council records. Friends struggled to recall how we met. One colleague stared at me blankly and asked, "Do you work here?" The final envelope arrived a month later. Inside was a single tag. Return due. That night, the door was waiting. I sit at the desk now. The shelves are fuller than I remember. Or perhaps they always were. The ledger lies open before me, my name neatly crossed out. I don't recall what the man before me looked like anymore, but sometimes, late at night, when the city grows still, I feel London watching, waiting. If you've ever lost something here, a memory, a person, a part of yourself, check the shadows. It may already have been returned.